You mentioned earlier that we have an independent press and independent Chapter 9 institutions. How well rated would you put them? So I get the sense that mainstream media tends to be a government lapdog often. They'll be critical around corruption issues, but when it comes to government policy, they can't say enough nice things, despite the fact that the policy has ruined the nation. We don't really see a diversity of opinions expressed in the press. There was almost no pushback on the ICJ case that was launched by the state, which is ruining our relationship with the Americans. So I sort of don't think we really have an independent press. And I've been told as much by journalists who've told me that there's juniorization in the newsroom, there's political bias, and there's probably outright bribery. And then when it comes to the Chapter 9 institutions, it doesn't seem that the Human Rights Commission applies its standards in an even manner. They've effectively said that the race of the speaker will be factored into whether they punish that person or not. And I don't think many people in this room could name many of the other Chapter 9 institutions because they're basically moribund. So I think you might be being overly optimistic on that front.
To your point, I'm guessing you're a Charlie Kirk supporter. I'm not.
What a move. Who hurt you, sir? Let me unpack why the sentence you just mentioned is both worthless and as revealing as your sitting stance. When you say something like, I can see you are a Charlie Kirk supporter, basically what you're saying is, I've made a judgment about someone's entire belief system based on one thing I don't like about him. It is exactly the lazy brain move people make when they want to disqualify someone without arguing with them. It is nothing but ad hominem dressed up in a cardigan. I see your politics, therefore your argument is invalid. The hell? That's not critique, that is shorthand dismissal. It is the rhetorical equivalent of closing YouTube tabs and then going home. Brother, if you want to attack the argument, not the person. Don't peddle labels like their currency. Labels are cheap, logic is expensive, so be prepared to pay. And if you can't handle the heat, step out of the kitchen.
But that's you. I can see it. I can see it written all over your face. I was very proud of our country when we went to the ICJ. I was exceptionally proud. Somebody had to do that.
Oh, really? Taking Israel to the ICJ was a good move. So you're saying we did the right thing. Short-term pain for long-term dignity. Noble sounding, isn't it? But let me be precise about consequences and slice this pie up with you. Saying good for Israel taken to the ICJ is superficially brave because it frames the decision as moral high ground. But policy choices are not moral platitudes strung to applause lines. They are nothing but calculus. You don't get to take an action that's going to affect trade, aid channels, diplomatic cooperation, and then shrug them and say, well, it hurt my feelings, but it was worth it. International relations are not a value signaling flex. They are a system of mutual interests. Ask yourself, when South Africa took a dramatic diplomatic stance against Israel, what exactly happened to our economy? What exactly happened to investor confidence from the USA? Sometimes states make principled moves that absorb everything else. That's politics for you. But you can choose to be stupid while doing it. You have to pay the bill in the end. And if the bill is hundreds or millions lost in investment or trade friction because you did that, brother, you better be ready to fund the social programs that are short on cash. Don't posture without a plan. Also, you're talking like pressuring the US helps our economy. What are you talking about? What on earth are you talking about? How would antagonizing a superpower help trade? Only if it's part of a larger, clear, pivotal strategy. Diversify markets, industries, open new trade routes, attract non-US investment. Otherwise, it's going to look like strategic malpractice. So don't clothe strategic clumsiness in moral rhetoric and then pretend it's some sacrifice.
We weren't paid by Iran to do that. That's bullshit. Absolute bullshit. We did it because when the ANC were fighting in the trenches, they were fighting alongside the IRA, they were fighting alongside the PLO, and they made a commitment. All these freedom-fighting organizations to support one another. Yeah, the ANC's fallen off its track, but at least that's one thing they did that I'm proud of. I may not be proud of a lot of our leaders and what's happened in our country, but the fact that they want to hold people to account for what's clearly a genocide according to the United Nations today, good for South Africa.
Wow, oh really? You said that with the smugness of someone who is so sure he has the moral X-ray. Let me be blunt with you, these style. Allegations of foreign funding for political positions are serious. They were not paid by Iran, that's bullshit. You must back that claim with receipts or show them. Because it seems to me like you're desperate to shut down the man's argument. He didn't say that for some stage prop, it is the whole argument in itself. You cannot protect the innocence of an organization by words alone. Produce it. Stop accusing people of saying propaganda as if you're naming innocent people at a children's party. Accusation without proof is slander, dressed as courage. You know that.
Our media, my God, we have a fiercely independent media. They've held politicians to account, criminals to account. They're the ones that are constantly going at all the bad guys. There's not a book that doesn't come out that isn't a bestseller where they're exposing people, whether it's Daily Maverick, Scorpio, Amabungane. There are so many independent media houses that are striving and fighting towards keeping our democracy free and fair.
South Africa is some of the best independent news media. Okay, so we need a nuance and you offered none. He name-dropped Daily Maverick like a trophy and said some version of South Africa's media is thriving, independent and fierce. That would be so cute if it were true across the board. But let's not pretend the media ecosystem isn't hemorrhaging eyeballs or that independence doesn't come with financial stress that influences editorial lines. Yes, the Daily Maverick broke important stories, and yes, certain outlets have done incredible work. Shout out to them. But best independent news media in the country? No, that is not a contest we are winning. Media sustainability is crisis level in many democracies, including South Africa. Outlets dependent on gritty investigative journalism are losing subscriptions per month and ad revenue and are being whittled down. Call out the wins, but also stop pretending they erase the structural weaknesses of the media market. You can applaud investigative work and knowledge subscriptions all you like, but they're tanking, and both are true.
With regards to Section 9s, they're trying their best. Yeah, some of them have been politicized, some of them have been captured, but there's a lot. I can name a lot for you. There's the Public Protector, there's the Equality Commission, there's, like you pointed out, the HRC. There's multiple. We as South Africans have our own sets of problems. And when you come here and you tell us that our media is not fair or our media is not free, I'm going to say to you which media in the world is. The Citizen newspaper was started by the Nats in the 1970s to try to bring the English whites to vote for the Nats. You go to America, CNN is Democrat, Fox is outwardly Republican. So don't come tell me our media has a problem when the country you love so much, America, is probably the most biased in the world.
Sorry, sir, what are you talking about? Some news media companies are Republican and some Democrat in the USA, and it's the most biased country in the world. Yo! Okay, two things here. One, the US media landscape absolutely shows partisan slants. Fox versus MSNBC, right? Calling the US the most biased country in the world. That is strikingly broad and unhelpful. Every media market is biased. It's baked into human organizations. Bias varies in degree and in the mechanisms that constrain it. Strong public broadcasters, journalistic standards, liberal laws, media ownership rules. The US is polarized, yes, but most biased is a soundbite, not an insight, especially coming from a South African. If you want to be an analyst, say US media polarization is severe and worth studying. Don't shout most biased like you just pressed an obvious buzzer. Also, irony check, when you say most biased to justify ignoring facts you don't like, you've just weaponized that claim to evade evidence you don't want to deal with. Don't do that, sir. Please don't, because you're from South Africa, where they claimed land expropriation without compensation wasn't happening. And what happened this morning? Thank you. Allow me to continue to stab your logic, not you, the person. Saying someone looks like they're a Charlie Kirk supporter is labeling and not rebuttal. Labels are lazy, cheap rhetorical currency. The way you beat an argument is with nothing but exposition with counter evidence, not with a sticker that says bad and a shrug and crying with your knees on the floor. Number two, noble gestures require planning. Telling the world we have moral superiority on policy while failing to explain the mitigation plan is fantasy government. If you want to vote moral posture, expect tax receipts to show the price and to back up your claims. Number three, your accusations need evidence. Accusing South Africa isn't funded by Iran needs evidence. If you're going to accuse someone of saying a lie and calling it bullshit, you better have a paper trail. Because personality or narrative does not equal proof. Number four, media praise needs nuance. Media outlets are complex. Praise the work. Don't nationalize the whole ecosystem and pretend no problems exist. Don't call us biased while being biased yourself. Number 5, polarization is a diagnosis, not a solution. Saying the US media is biased doesn't absolve you from factual accuracy. It is a reason to be more rigorous, not lazier. Just picture this. Your friend is there, sitting down, chest out, crossing his legs like a man who just returned a Netflix subscription because the algorithm gave him wrong recommendations, and then starts throwing around moral grand piano arguments like he's saving the world between sips of frappuccino. And then he drops, "We are not paid by Iran," as his mic drop moment. The audience claps politely and laughs like it's a TED Talk. But somewhere in there, a fact checker quietly shuffles paperwork and weeps. Because I want to talk to you about the consequences of people like this. When public intellectuals trade nuance for performative martyrdom, you get 3 bad things. People distrust real journalism, meaningful diplomatic debate becomes nothing but virtue screaming, and policy gets made on vibes. You want a country run by vibes? Fine. Go vote for your blue head and whoever can chant the catchiest slogan. But don't moan when the trade deals stall and the lights go out. If I am Mark Oppenheimer, calm, composed, civil, sitting there, and the liberal guy tried to ransack me and failed because I dismantled him politely, good. Being civil over rage matters. So here's your next move. Instead of trying to end careers with insults, my man, try building arguments with receipts, win debates with evidence and wit, not with temper tantrums and labels. That way you will beat Mark Oppenheimer. Now, here's my mic drop. This man is trading courage for lazy theatrics. He has 2 options. Grow into an actual qualified analyst who can pursue trade-offs and present verifiable evidence, or continue to remain cheap entertainment and act like who yells the loudest is the truth teller. The audience will forgive the entertainer, but they shouldn't be fooled into trusting his policy advice. So here's the challenge to this guy, this very clever guy in the panel. Next time you go on stage, bring documents, not disdain. Bring nuance, not one-liners. If you want to be taken seriously, stop painting with broad strokes and start doing the work. If you want to remain a content provider of great indignation, be consistent. Accept the fact that you were nothing but an entertainer who lost that debate, not a policymaker who claims people support Charlie Kirk. And for you in the audience who watched him and felt quietly frustrated, good. Use that frustration as a muscle. Demand receipts. Support media that provides them. Call people out when they label instead of argue. And for the love of all things that are holy, if you're going to accuse someone of not having foreign funding, don't be the person who cries like a bored rooster. Evidence first, rhetoric second, and swear last. Because by swearing, you are telling us just the type of person you are. Someone we shouldn't be listening to at all. I'll see you next time. That's from the Summer Sam.